One of the memories I cherish most is my memory of first meeting Lucian Pye, who, it's a cherished memory not just because he was this huge figure in the field. He was the president of the American Political Science Association, instrumental in the founding of the department, but also because I think his work was probably the very first political science work I ever read. And I was assigned, a paper he had written in middle school. I went to Chinese school, and this paper had been translated, and so it was assigned to me in middle school. And Lucian's work could be quite provocative. So I remember that I, read it, and then my parents and I had a big debate about it at home. But anyway, I would never have imagined at that point that I would come to be in the same department as him, and it was my first year in the department. I'm 29 years old, and I'm fresh out of grad school, and I come into faculty lunch, and I, get my food, and I'm looking for an empty seat, and there's an empty seat next to this distinguished looking gentleman, and so I go and take that seat. And I don't know all of the faculty in the department yet, so I turn to him and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Lily. I study Chinese politics." And this gentleman says to me, "I'm Lucian Pye, and I study Chinese politics too." And it's one of those moments where you're sort of thinking about what to say, because everything that comes to mind is like inadequate or inappropriate. Like I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Lucian Pye, and of course I know you study Chinese politics. And so I'm sort of trying to think about what to say that doesn't make me sound like a total idiot. But Lucian was very gracious and very generous, and we got to talking about how he came to be a political scientist. And I don't know, I have no idea whether this is true, but he had this story about how he actually wanted to be a doctor, and he didn't get into medical school, so he became a political scientist. And that was sort of the kind of person Lucian was. He's very, very generous and gracious and supportive of younger scholars. And I later found out, after he died actually, which was not too long afterwards, after that first meeting, that one of the very last things that I think he had written was a review of my first book. And I was really moved to know that even at the very end of his career, he was still totally intellectually engaged with the most recent research, but also still making time to support a younger scholar. And I often think about this quote that a lot of academics use. It's something that Isaac Newton said about standing on the shoulders of giants. And I'm very grateful to have known Lucian at least even briefly, because here was a giant who, he wasn't just a giant, he was somebody who actively raised other people up.